take it away. Steal the Skies. We return. We're going to be returning scheduled for late this month is going to be session zeros for the final season of the show. This has been such a long adventure. But let's do this. You might be wondering, what is Steal the Skies? It is one world that has 4 campaigns in it, 4 different tabletop RPGs of primarily sky pirates exploring the world and learning the mysteries and having the tribulations of just making it out on their own. Like I mentioned, it is shared. Everything that everyone does has some consequence for everyone else. If one person interacts and makes a decision for their campaign, it's going to have a ripple effect, a butterfly effect for the rest of the campaign. And that's a funny thing that Google thingy does. But Ice. Ivalice. It all takes place in Final Fantasy Ivalice. It takes place roughly 150 years after the events of Final Fantasy 12. And there's a lot of bit of canonical energy that brings that about. And it really expands what you learn in Final Fantasy 12, Final Fantasy 12 Revenant Rings, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance 2, and then it also complements canon events that are yet to be said historically in Final Fantasy Tactics and Vagrant Story. So instead of just little chunks here and there that all of those stories have, this is the entire Ivalice as stitched together and made up as much as possible to fit all the canons of those 5 games. And great thing about it, thank you, Google, is crossovers. Throughout this entire campaign, teams have been crossing over with each other periodically. If they're in the same area or if there's something that they need, they can call each other up. Or like Season 5, everyone just is transported into a completely new dimension to play the whims of a god, and said god has done so for between seasons 9 and 10 for game shows. And it's been so much fun. Just having to corral 10 to 12 people is absurd, but absolutely worth it. This has been a great experience. So you might be wondering, where can you watch recordings of previous streams? Well, it's over on my YouTube channel, the Quincy Beolve YouTube channel. I got playlists of each of the boats. They got their own campaigns. And yeah, almost every single video is saved if you just want to go back through an adventure. Sometimes it gets a little confusing as the crossovers happen, but go over to that boat and then see where the crossover happened. That's great. And, whew. Okay, fantastic. The weird thing that's happening on my screen is not happening on the stream. So, I'm just freaking out about how the present slideshow is freaking out, and you can't see any of it. So I guess that's good. But who's running this show? Who's here? Who's in charge? Who is the game host? It's me, QB. It's man, this is wild. Everything's just flashing on my screen. Yeah, it's me, Quincy Beolve QB. I am the host. I am the game designer. We're using the 3rd edition FFRPG rule system, so I didn't design like all the mechanics, but everything that is specific to this campaign, I almost single-handedly designed. I did ask for people to create inputs as things that are important to their characters, just so that I could have something to bounce off of. But everything else, quite a bit. And canonically, you always have the GM insert NPC, and for me, it's Evlereb. Just put on backward, put the name in backwards, squat all the time, make everyone fear you. It's great. And like I mentioned, I do want to. I love doing a collaborative storytelling and collaborative mechanical creations. I want to do what I can to make sure that people have the agency in what they are making and what they are doing. That's what I do for every game that I create. And so, yeah, game designer, project manager, those are things that I proudly hold on to as titles that make this show run. And speaking of this show, it's been running for 5 years, 6 years. No, it had to be 5 years because it was like 2 years for Final Fantasy 69 and a couple months for other actual plays. So, hey, resume, it's me. Been at it for 7 years total. It's great. But enough about me, because let's talk about who our crews are, who our people are. There we go. Yeah, this is way older. I came up to people in like 2020, 2021 for the show. I think it was 2020, like the start of COVID, where I was like, all right, everyone, let's start making some characters. But yeah, we have Boat One Best Boat, who has been here all the entire time of Boat One Best Boat. It is Coda, your friendly neighborhood construct, who hails from Oscar, fantastic actor, and been in a couple movies, and loves hunting, loves being with friends, loves just being alive, really. And co-host with Coda for season 10 will be Magnali, a previous operatic singer from Oscar. Working together, they recently found out that they were a vampire. So that's fun. That's a very rare situation in Ivalice. And yeah, they both are trying to find their place as the world is crumbling around them. Coda is played by Morat, who is absolutely fantastic. Oh, I should have gotten a little blurb from Morat, like a little thing. Well, I should have done that for everybody. Oh well. And Magnalia is played by Yosifer. Both absolutely delightful friends. Love them both. They're great. Next up, we have the Little Buff Boys, who current crew going into season 10 is going to be Jal, previously named as Doc, but is reclaiming their name. Jal's also played by Yosifer. We got a good medic and damage dealer. We have Ramiel, who was on this boat originally in the game long ago at the season 1, and due to timey-wimey memory wipe, went off to start his own shop for 8 months or so. 8 seasons or so. Definitely more than months. More than 8 months. Ramiel's played by Phil, good friend. And we have Rev, who is I don't remember, reverend, priest, monk of a Orthodox branch of the Light of Keltius, who wants to protect the world. And next up we have the Reverie. Oh, did I mention the Rev is played by Wookiee? I don't remember mentioning that. Anyways, Rev is played by Wookiee. Absolutely delightful. Love them. First up on the Reverie, we have Abigail Escalia, played by Natsuru. She is the last Fiol Vieira on alive in Ivalice. Found out the history of her species, her family, and is trying to make a name for the history books for just her species and trying to survive, trying to make the best of what has happened in Rosaria since season 9. We have Jean de Reza, who is with Abigail, the 2 members of the Dawn Swallows. They are 2 dancers / performers who have been working pretty hard, hand in hand, step in step. Jean is played by Pokey. And we have possibly Waylon. Still waiting to hear back from you, Pseudo, on your availability for season 0, for session 0 and season 10. We'll see. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Mr. Bad at DMs. It's okay. We'll try and figure it out. We'll see. I have you here just in case, because everyone would love to have you back. I'd love to have you back. You're fun to play with. Your characters are fun. And we have Selena, who once had 2 personalities between Cinna and Leah. They came together and has been separated from the rest of the group. Waylon's also been separated from the rest of the group. Waylon is out in the void, not even on Ivalice anymore, trying to ferry people back to Ivalice that they kind of sucked out of existence. Selena just disappeared when one of the BBEGs said, "Hey, you'd be a great pawn. Come work with me." And Selena is played by Ash or Lily Spell. And our last group, we have Krista do a flip. On it, we have Franklin Sage, who is a judge, bartender by day, judge also by day, not by choice, forced to be a judge because, you know, when you get contracted and Esper is put on your back, kind of hard to say no, physically speaking. Franklin is played by Chorby. And second off, we have Popero, played by Wookiee. Popero is a 12-year-old, the youngest of the group, who has always aspired to be a judge after he was saved by one, and was excited to become a retainer for Franklin, for Judge Holmroot. And kinda, definitely a player or character is Krista, their ship, who is played by Chat. chat from Twitch gets to voice Krista whenever this show is running, and it's fun. Krista can be a little bit sassy. These three together have roamed. They are trying to save Ivalice. Popro has been running around with a bunch of judges at the end of season 9 and between then and 10. Franklin has been slurped out of existence. No one knows where he is. Like, Selena we know is with the BBG. Waylon is in the void between universes. Franklin, gone. Not dead, just gone. No one knows. Doesn't exist. Never has existed. Never will exist. Just gone. And so that is our players and our characters. So let's now talk about the state of Ivalice. The state of Ivalice is not great, to say the least. There is the Rosarian civil war going on between the Glabdos house and the Margrace house. Rosaria is one of the 3 major empires of the world. It is ran by 5 high houses. And this civil war has been dragging in a bunch of countries into its conflict. Primarily the other 2 large empires. Morat, hello! There's currently the undeath disease that's going around Ivalice, where some form of a necromancer has caused just undead. It just caused undead, and those infected by it. And normally it would be a direct transference of status, but this one seems to be indirect. This one seems to be spreading like a virus or like a curse. And land masses have just been disappearing and falling from the sky. Sky continents have lost their power with their sky stones. Islands and areas have just been poof, gone. And the first one definitely gonna be a little bit scarier because those land on probably populated areas. And so, like I mentioned, the Rosarian Civil War. We have the Glabdos house over on the east side. We have the Margrace house on the west side. This is a little bit outdated. The four high houses have basically gobbled up the south area to join them in the Civil War. The Holy Eudorn, and so, right, I have little blurbs. The House Margrace of the West is backed by the Holy Eudorn Empire, which is splintering and faulting as city-states are reclaiming independence from the Holy Eudorn Empire. But Margrace is also backed by Waswar and Vidro. While the House Glabados are being backed by the Arcadian Empire and the Galtian Alliance. So it truly is an East versus West war going on here. The reason for the Rosarian Civil War to happen is that the House Margrace start attacking the eastern settlements, the eastern cities, because according to some grapevine, there was a branch of the Glabados house that started doing some wars between the houses of the west of Rosaria, Waswar, and Vidro, so that they could weaken those houses' holdings. So Margrace and the Western House decided, hey, that's not cool. You gotta have some retribution for that. And Morgrace or Glabnos basically said, "Nah, we never did that." So war, uh, as a season 9 ended, Nethicite manufacturing has restarted, and as the first line of Nethicite are coming out of production, they are in use to devastating effect throughout this war, all over Rosaria. Basically, the Rosarian Empire, the Arcadian Empire, the Galtian Alliance, Waspor Vidro, and the Holy Adorn Empire have all backed out of the Rekresh Safety Accords to escalate this conflict. Meaning, the gloves are off. They will not bow or answer to any international bodies that were created to stay Nethicite power. And yeah. Another state, we have the Undeath Disease. It was originally in small pockets on the Romandan and the Odalian continents, those being the big one in the middle, the one in the southwest. Uh, as I mentioned, it behaves like a disease that causes the afflicted to soon, very quickly, be under the undead status effect permanently. This is not zombie status effect. This is more than that. This is not vampire status effect. This is undead specifically. This only affects non-humans, so your Banga, your Gria, your Viera, they are all affected by the Undeath Disease, but no humans have been contracted with it. They've all been fine. Unfortunately, there is no cure for the Undeath Disease. There is only mitigation. And, well, not really mitigation as much as just ostracization, as a lot of places have started doing. So, yeah, it behaves similar to the undead outbreak that was first seen in Stockmat that affected everyone in the slums of the city. But that was primarily caused by a necromancer. This end was single-handedly picked for each victim. This is behaving like a disease. Although there is a Banga known as Mesa, who is rumored to be working on a cure, and has created an arc for those that want refuge. And we got disappearing and falling land masses. It's currently believed to be due to overmining, since all the land masses require sky stones in order to stay floating. It basically is just you have enough sky stones, you float like tying a bunch of balloons to a landmass. However, in order for airships, as many airships that are flying to be in the air without the manufactured nethicite that was popular in 80 years ago, there was a lot of mining that needs to be done of the sky stones. Since the beginning of the campaign, several islands have been listing a little bit, but of the two main sky continents, more islands have been falling into the seas, the Bugros and the Naldoan seas, which are within the Holy Adorn Empire and the Galtian Alliance's regions. The capitals of Pravama, which is the one over the Naldoan Sea, and New Lemuriz, that is over the Bugros Sea, have started noticeably listing over the last year, like more so than before. 2 months ago, Galg of New Lumiras has they started fixing their amplification since Galg originally was not a sky island. It was Mughal tech that sent them up into the sky, and it's been failing. But they have been trying to work on it for the last 2 months, and we'll see how it goes. 1 month ago, Bujerba, which is the capital of Pravama, was deemed too dangerous to remain habitable, with how drastically it started falling, and how slowly. So an evacuation order has gone into effect. The city and that sky continent estimates about 40% of the population has successfully evacuated at this point. So we got about 60% more to go. Now we got some big bad evil guys, as the phrase is. Your BBGs. Where is good? Would it be this? No, I want this. The BBG theme. Perfect. All right. There are 3 major BBGs that we'll go into, but first, we have the Esper / Lucavi Pantheon that has been plaguing the campaign. We have Cuchulainn the Impure, who first appeared at the ore site for Cuchulainn was within the safe of Kholin, which was taken out by the little buff boys. And once they realized, oh, this is bad that we have what we have on our hands, they sealed it in a box and threw it in the ocean. Shortly afterwards, after season 5, Kholin has been seen building a submarine near where it fell into the ocean. And last we saw it, the submarine was gone, but where the warehouse where it was, is on a tiny little spit of island. So, who knows where Kholin is and what's going on there? We have Zalera the Death Seraph, who was controlled by... gosh, what's his name? Gross guy who was the bane of Boat 1's existence for so long. I know I have these notes. I still have these notes from way back when. Not Cantor Fleming. Philibert Clayhanger. That's the guy. Philibert Clayhanger held Zalera the Death Seraph, but was hunted down in his own hunting game by Boat 1. When they caught up to Zalera / Philibert, he was very weak after fighting immediately after fighting and defeating a Judge Emmett Selk. And if I remember correctly, a bunch of other judges caught up and was like, hey, give us the Esper and his armor. You can do whatever you want with the body. Body's kind of useless now to us. Next up we have Famfrit, the Darkening Cloud. Famfrit was held by I wish I remembered the name, the king in Lassalia, which during season 9, Krista do a flip. They infiltrated the king's quarters with several judges in a raid-style attack, defeated him, but as a judge was going to return Famfrit was on its way to return the aura sites of Famfrit to the Akiria, that judge was eliminated by a mysterious force, and Famfrit was stolen. We have Mateus the Corrupt, who is currently being held by Mr. Dereza, Jean's own father, who showed that he is working with the others to bring about a new world of Ivalice. He was last seen summoning Mateus to his side to fight Jean and Abigail, but they just noped right on out of there. We have Belius the Gigas, or Belias. Belias has been split into both an Orocyte and a Graft. Most of these Espers have been on Orocyte at this point, but Belias is on both. The Graft is on Selena's body, and the Orocyte, last we know, was with Judge Fandaniel. And we found out Judge Fandaniel is working with one of the BBEGs as they recruited Selena to their side at the end of Season 9. And we have Adramelech the Wroth, who was the first of the Orocyte Espers, as the manifestation to summon to how to free an Esper from the chains of hell that they were all imprisoned to. It was Dr. Al-Cid of Ramiel's tutor who figured out how to bring it about. And Adramelech was the first one to be put in an Orocyte. And I don't remember if I had the last one on here, but we have Hashmal, the bringer of order, who was seen as being held by, oh gosh, it was Boat 1, Best Boat, had to help her. They found her in Rivencrag since she went missing. I cannot remember her name for the life of me. I should have gone back to double check all of these things. Anywho, just a damsel in distress. Hashmal called out to her in her time of need and slew her captors just in time for Boat 1 Best Boat to find her panicked and freaking out in her cell. And they wanted to make sure that she made it back to her brother. And the only way to do that was to convince her to give up Hashmal. So she did. And then Hashmal was given to one of the judge retainers that they were with. And they went to the Great Crystal, Giravegan, to drop off the stone. However, that was not where we last saw Hashmal. Well, that is not where we last possibly saw Hashmal. That judge retainer was found dead in Giravegan with all of the stones that they had collected splayed about at their corpse, except for Hashmal. And so, now on to the BBEGs. We have Ajor Glabados. First incident introduced in Final Fantasy Tactics. They were born into a branch of the Glabados High Houses of Rosaria. Specifically, the house that seemed to have been causing those civil wars off to the... Or, not the civil wars, the... wars with Waswar and Vidro off to the west of Rosaria. Uh, when it was perceived that their family was going to be given up as sacrifice to House Margrace, they hopped on a boat and fled to the Holy Edoran Empire. That boat being Christadura Flip and the Reverie. And so, because of that instigation, they fled. Most of that was done by Adrora's father. However, Adrora kind of continued the family tradition of causing some military subterfuge and intentionally weakening the Holy Edoran Empire's hold on city-states. All of those city-states that were breaking away from the Holy Edoran Empire kind of caused by this one 18-year-old, which I believe would be like 19, 20 now. And surprise, as told to Selena before their recruitment, revealed that Adrora is the reincarnation of Ultima, the High Seraph, one of the Espers. And that's why there are so many Espers that are joining Adrora's side. Next up, we have Molenkamp, who was her original appearance was in Vagrant Story. There wasn't too much about her in Vagrant Story, so there's quite a bit that was made up for this. She is the High Priestess of the Iolcus Brotherhood, which is a sect of the Light of Kiltia religion that other Kiltian denominations abhor. So you bring up the Iolcus Brotherhood to anybody else of the Kiltian faith, and they're like, "Oh, those people." She has promises of glory, is able to conduct amazing miracles in front of everyone there that witnesses, but she's working with the Emperor of Shade as she plans to bring the world under a slumber that answers to her and her alone. And next up we have Wallace Zelnor, who is a necromancer. Wallace Zelnor specifically targeted non-Humes whenever reviving anyone or killing anyone or doing anything like that. Usually targeted non-Humes. Wallace first appeared with the Reverie as they kind of recruited him out of his containment of trying to start a roadside zoo of people, which is gross. I was like, you know what? We're gonna save the people that you did bring alive, and we're gonna recruit you for other purposes. And then they found out what he was understanding, what he thought that he was recruited for, and decided that's not good. And there we have him, Wallace Zelnor. However, as we found out, this isn't the only Wallace Zelnor. According to what Christadura Flip discovered, there is another Wallace Zelnor. There are two people who are necromancers named Wallace Zelnor. They both got their names from their masters, Wallace Zelnor. No one knows what Wallace Zelnor looks like. It is said that he was the one that taught life magic to Molenkamp, and showed life magic to an Uraton tribe. And so the other two took up his name, took up his practice, learned from him instead of the Necromancer Guild on Tribithica, and started causing problems in the neighborhood. The Wallace Elnor on the right was drop kicked in Giravegan, no longer alive. And the Wallace Elnor on the left was dropped off at the Necromancer Guild in Tribithica to rehabilitate himself. No one knows who, where, or what the original Wallace Elnor is up to. So, gonna have to find out if anyone's able to find him before he essentially just undeaths all the non-humans in the world.